sunflower! Yay! Why is it facing the freaking house? Why is it facing the house? Good morning. It is Wednesday, July the 16th, 2025, and today is a very important day. So you remember that I posted a video at the end of the school year about some frank thoughts that I had about my year. To be honest with you, last year was a really good year in my school district overall. I had an amazing team, have an amazing team. My district is a wonderful place to be. The parents are extremely supportive. Everyone is doing their best for kids. Everybody's there for the right reasons, and there is a huge talent pool in my district. One of the things that I had to get used to as I transitioned into the school district was the fact that it is a little bit of a larger district than the one that I came from, which isn't saying much because my school, if you remember, was so small that the year before I was the only fourth grade teacher on the mainland, and then there was one on the island. So I was in an unusual setting, and reflecting on it, a lot of the things that happened to me in retrospect in that district had to do with that fact. But one of the benefits of being in a small school is that you have a high amount of teacher autonomy. There is a popular school of thought in education that in order to make sure that our students are getting what they need, all the classrooms need to look same, so that when the administrators walk through to check on progress and what the teaching is looking like, that it's going to look similar in every classroom. My personal school of thought, although I believe in making sure that every student gets what they need, my personal school of thought is that students can't truly get what they need unless we are meeting each individual student where they're at. So I favor a more differentiated, personalized learning environment, but from the standpoint of administering a program, it is easier for people to check on progress and to know what's working and what's not working if it's same. So that being said, I get why my district has gone towards this, because they want to evaluate the curriculum's impact. They want to see, what are the little things that are making a difference so that we can make changes in smaller areas. But the reality is that there's a trade-off. There's a trade-off in differentiation. And I think our data shows that that's happening because if you look at the low and the high end, that's where our students are struggling to grow. I think actually we've done a better job at addressing the needs of the kids in the lower end of the spectrum with good phonics and phonemic awareness, and everybody's going through the letters training to make sure that everyone has the background that they need to be able to deliver that. But what often gets missed when all the classrooms need to look same is that way of sparking student thinking beyond the grade level. So our higher achieving students sometimes miss out in the general curriculum, in the core curriculum, when everything needs to look the same. So I recognize that in order to be effective as an administrator in a district, I need to be okay with the core premises of what's being done, so that I can be authentic, because to me, I'm not going to do a job unless I believe fully in what I'm doing. I'm a passionate person, and I need to be in alignment with the philosophy of education. So I don't have a problem with any of the people necessarily that I have, been serving under. We have stellar people in all of our administrative positions. just like we have stellar teachers. I mean, this is really a huge talent pool here. And I consider myself fortunate to work with some of the amazing people that I do. But I am looking for a place where I can use my philosophy to benefit the big vision, if that makes sense. So our church does this thing, it's called Growth Track. And when you join the church, one of the things that they ask you to do is attend a growth track session. A growth track that is like a 4-week commitment, and you come and you learn about the church, the values, the expectations, and then they get you busy serving. And the philosophy in that is that we don't just have a need and then make a person fill the need that we have. Instead, we try to determine what are the God-given talents of these individuals. What are they interested in? Where are their passions? Because that's the way that they were created to function within the body of Christ. And we allow people to serve in areas that they're already naturally bending towards. That is no different than what I believe in when it comes to placing people and when it comes to placing myself. So you'll remember in my video where I talked about the classroom pack-up video that I just decided to take down because there was too much controversy surrounding it and I didn't like it. I just spoke on the topic that I have a different personality, and not everyone relates to it, and that's okay. And I've had to come to terms with that over the years. I've prayed on it. I've asked God to show me things. I feel like I'm operating out of a good place, and I'm making decisions out of a good place. And I'm trying to not buck the system. When I understand now that I've been in the district for a year, I see the direction, I see, the reasoning. I'm trying to figure out where can I fit naturally so that my strengths and talents will be best used, so that I can flow in what I'm doing and I can enjoy it and I can be a blessing to people around me. I don't want to be that person that administrators have to constantly address because I'm thinking in a different way than they're trying to go. I don't want to be that person. That's not what I'm striving to be. I'm striving to be positioned in a place where I can utilize all the things I've learned about literacy and integrated curriculum from functioning in many different districts for almost 30 years and learning about literacy at all different developmental levels and learning about how to make sure that literacy is happening in even our middle school science and social studies classrooms, in our math classrooms. Because I think that developing a culture of literacy in a community is about more than just having good ELA teachers, right? It's about making it happen in every place that students go. So, with all that being said, I've looked at a couple of different things. I have a background in technology, in serving in areas of technology. I was a building tech lead. When we went through COVID, I, was assigned a role to help with developing instructional technology, and I'm Rethink certified, which is basically digital facilitator for teachers that I'm able to deliver professional development related to tech integration. So my lean is sort of towards that innovative education, STEM, all of those things, which when I came to the district, I was excited because the district wants to do that. They're seeking to do that, but in a toned down way is what I've observed. And somebody can correct me if they think that I'm wrong, but what I see is that we want to do it, but we want to do it on top of our paradigm that we're currently operating under. And I think that it's a paradigm shift. I think that to operate in a STEM, from STEM background, if you're a STEM school, that design thinking is student driven, which means that every classroom is not going to look the same because you have different students in there. And a classroom is not just about, what the teacher creates, but it's also about the impact of having those individuals in your classroom. And that the students should be asking questions. The students should be driving investigations. And if that's happening, each classroom is going to, yes, be focused on certain standards, and it's the teacher's job to guide and direct that questioning, to insert where needed to make sure that students get to the perspective point that you're trying to get to with the standard. But the pathway there is going to be different because the kids are driving what's happening. That is, in my mind, STEM education, design thinking. So rather than having it as something that we do like in an elective, or having it as something that we do on a Friday once a month, it is a way of operating that causes us to completely shift our paradigm of what good reading instruction, math instruction, science instruction, social studies instruction can look like in a classroom. So where does that leave me? Where do I fit in all that? Well, I told you I had a couple of things that were in the works. One of them has kind of fallen through, at least for now, for this year. It was initially my intent, and I still would love for that to happen, for me to stay in the same district until I retire. I have between 9 and 11 years, depending on what I decide to do and how I feel and how everything's going, to comfortably feel like I'm ready to retire. We've just started looking kind of like at financial aspects of that and like what that means for us. So our first thing is to buy a house, and then to save a certain amount every month after that. So the buying of the house is going to happen within the next few years. We're just taking our time because it'll be the last house that we live in. So I'm definitely going to be in for at least 9 years in order to get to where we want to be. And then probably the idea is to soft retire until I'm like 75 to do professor of education online work. That's my goal. When you think about what my skill set is, I have so much knowledge of child development, what's appropriate for different age levels in literacy, and so much knowledge of science and integrating science and social studies with literacy, which also could be extended to math, but I have less of a background in that than I do in the other areas. That leaves me thinking, STEM school or something in information digital literacy. So today I am interviewing for my same district, my same county, as a digital literacy media coordinator. It is an exciting opportunity because I would have the chance to completely design a new media center, and to basically administrate everything from the ground up as we move into the new school that's being built next year. It's going to be the current students that I serve, the third graders through fifth graders, plus the sixth through eighth graders. So I would use my elementary and my middle school experience, which would be perfect. It would give me instructional leadership experience, which I need more of that to be a professor of education. I do not have enough adult education experience, so I need that. The downside to this is that in order to do this position, I would need to continue to take classes when I thought that I was almost done. So it's going to mean me finishing my thesis and starting a library program, because in our state you are required to be certified and you cannot take a test to get certified as a with a master's in library science. So I don't mind, because quite frankly I love school. I hate that it's costing me so much, but it's kind of like making it hard to retire, but I also love what I do, and I think my mind will stay better. My family has a history of Alzheimer's, and I have been told that the longer you work, the less problems you have with that, because it keeps your mind fresh. So I'm probably like going to be, that's why I need to be healthy, because I'm probably going to be working for a number of years, but that's okay because I love what I do. So I'm interviewing for that today. I do not have the library degree yet, and I emphasize yet because I will get it. If I am given the chance, I will get it, and I'm not concerned about getting it. It'll be interesting. I'll enjoy it. I love that kind of thing. Honestly, my plans when I got my administrator license were to work towards becoming an instructional leader. So whether I was actually going to have my own school or not, I went back and forth on that. But an assistant principal can function in that role given the needs of the community. So I thought, you know, having my admin degree is very beneficial in being in instructional leadership, and also looks good on a resume when it comes to being a professor of education, that you've had administrative experience, because you know the ins and outs of how a school functions, and it helps you prepare future teachers. So that was my path. Also, it's my passion to have a program that has high levels of teacher retention, and that was a way that I could pursue knowledge in that area as I got certified to be an admin. So, all that being said, I looked at the charter school, the STEM charter school in the area, and I just feel like I got to them a little bit too late, because I think they actually were very interested in me. I went and I toured the school. I told you I had toured a school and I was impressed. That's the school. It would be within driving distance from my house, because I don't have any plans on moving until we buy or build our retirement home in the next few years. So it would allow me to drive and still be within 30 minutes, and still, like, you know, do the same thing where Joe and I are commuting together. We just be a little bit further away during the day from each other, like 20 minutes away from each other or something like that, I think. Anyway, they just had already gotten so far through their interview process by the time I even started looking that it was too late. And so I just had prayed, God, just open the doors that that need to be opened, and shut the doors that need to be shut. And so I considered that to be Him doing exactly what I asked and answering my prayers. So then I started looking at this library media coordinator position, which also includes digital literacy and teacher leadership through professional development, and it's a perfect match because it allows me to use my creativity, my innovation, design thinking, all those things where I in the classroom can use it like part of the time. In the library media coordinator role, the majority of what I would do, other than the logistics of keeping the circulation up to date and the inventory and, you know, getting students to return overdue things, that part of it, it would completely fit to where I could use my creativity, my design thinking, you know, create a makerspace, collaborative environment, all of those things. I could do that in my regular everyday work. And that's what my heart longs to do. That's where I think my strength lies. And when teachers want to do something special in their classrooms, I can be that contact point that helps them. If you want to do like a crossover project between teachers, like at the middle school level, where it's more of an integrated unit, that's my forte. So I feel like this would be a very good place for me to position myself. And, you know, I believe that it is okay for you as an individual to try something out, to realize you fit or you don't fit, and then to reassess and to make changes and that will impact the kids positively, because that's what it's really all about, right? Like, if we're all placed where we belong in our ideal environment, then we're going to do good things for kids, and that's what it's all about. So I see this less, although it's frustrating when you're told, I need you to dial it back, I need you to, you know, you can be you like 20%, and the rest of the time I need you to follow. That's frustrating to hear as a person who not just seeks to do creative things, but a person who is a creative, and there's a big difference. That's frustrating to hear, but it's less of an issue about like my administrators' like viewpoints on that kind of thing. And it's more of an issue of, okay, if that is the way that we are doing things, then where do I best fit? Because I do want to stay here. I do like the district for many different reasons. So I'm interviewing for that today. I'm ready to get in the car and go. I do still have to teach today. My interview is at 3:30. I can leave right at the end of the day and pop over there. It's like 10 or 15 minutes from my school where I'm doing summer reading camp. So I'm going to do that, and I will talk to you again after the interview and let you know how it went.
Yep, 3:30 though. Yeah.
Sorry.
Really?
This little phone right there is recording. Do good to this one, because this little is recording us. Huh? She is recording. Look, in the cubby. She is recording us. So we gotta do good. Or
Brianna, look.
to show
Brianna, look.
she's recording
She's
us.
recording us.
So that she can show the person when we're gonna be done. Because not sure about that. Not even like this. She is not sure about recording us right now.
Maybe anymore.
I don't know.
Look the camera. There's no cameras in here. No,
Wait, there's hidden cameras. There's 20 hidden cameras in this room. So,
How do you know how many hidden cameras?
because I hacked through everything.
Yeah, I would expect you to do that after like 15 Sister.
Is that another one in the cubbies over there again? Not that one, but that one.
Guess what? The one hidden camera on the cup painted. So,
All right, so your journal today is right about a time you want to do something with older kids that you got left out. It can be your family members, like if you have older brothers or sisters, or it can be just somebody that's older than you in the neighborhood, but you couldn't go because you were too young.
I'm older.
Well, were there times where the little brothers or sisters had to go with you and you didn't want them to?
I can go nowhere. And one thing is this shorts.
Okay, so write about that. Write 2 sentences about it. Yes. expenses. I'll check them, I'll collect them all at the end, and I'll look at them at the end of the day today. How are you guys losing your pencils? Okay, so when you go home, put your pencil inside your desk, so that way it doesn't roll off. Because the only thing I can think of is that maybe it rolled on the floor and then it got swept up, but usually they're pretty good about that. What's wrong? Oh, so you must have somebody's pencil by accident. All right, Militia, think of a time that you wanted to do something with older kids got left out. Or if you're always the oldest kid, think about a time that you had to do something with a younger brother or sister and it was annoying. Like they wanted to come and you didn't want to. They wanted to play with you and your friends and you didn't want to. Taylor, after we sing our song this morning, I'm going to turn that off, okay?
Okay.
It won't be on out there. I'm the oldest too. There are 4 sisters and a brother younger than me.
My cousin and my other cousin, one of them is 14 and the other one is about to turn 13.
Yeah.
And I'm about to turn 9.
Good morning, Ryland. How are you?
Good.
First, you have to tap out water. So let's do the syllables in water. Ready? And then you got it. All right, go ahead and throw your breakfast trash away. Get your Take Me Home Country Roads paper out. All right, are we ready? Start your stuff. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Remember, I'm listening for people that are really singing those verses, so make sure you're reading them and singing them. Come on, y'all. I gotta go. Who else is out in the hallway? I know it's that. Are you sleeping today? Okay. You feeling all right? Are you sick or are you just sleepy? All right, well, you let me know if I need to do something, okay? Thank you, Raylan. All right, here we go. West Virginia. Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads. Let me hear those verses. All my memories gather around her. Modest lady, stranger to the water. Dark and dusty, hanging on the sky. Misty days of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice. Here we go. I hear her voice in the morning hours. She calls what? Radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. What? Yesterday. Country roads, take me home.
So it is now the next day after my interview, and I have finished summer reading camp for the day. I'm home just kind of trying to unwind, relax. I wanted to touch base with you and let you know that the interview went very, very well. I probably felt the most relaxed in this interview than I have in an interview in a long time. And I'm kind of a professional interviewer. Not that I ever set out to be, but if you followed my story at all, you know that I have changed positions here and there. I've had quite a few different positions, and some of those were for just purely like family reasons, and other ones for my aspirations to move forward in my career, other ones for just really finding myself in a position where there were like non-negotiables that I have that were crossed in my setting, and so I felt the need to change my setting. So it wasn't all like some people think, you know, if you've hopped around a lot at jobs that like you're just a problem. Well, it wasn't all that. I had issues with every place that I've been. I had a lot of things that went on in my family, and quite a few of the moves that we made were related to doing what we felt at the time was best for our family as a whole. Sometimes you don't know until you try something if it's going to end up being your cup of tea or the best decision, but you just do the best that you can with the information that you have, and then you go from there. And I have always been of the opinion that, you know, I pray about decisions. I don't take big decisions lightly, but at the same time, I know, you know, God can't move unless we move. So sometimes you have to get out of your own way. Sometimes you have to get out of a situation. You have to make the move. You have to try something in order to seek that place where you're supposed to be. I believe that, you know, there is being in the right place at the right time, that you can be in the center of what God has for you, and He will bless you. You can also think that you hear and you can make a mistake, but He can still bless you because He makes things good. So, you know, I feel like if I look back over the years, you know, you could second guess yourself for decisions that you've made at different times, but ultimately, I feel like you will always end up, if you're seeking to do the right thing and you're praying and you're asking God for guidance and you think you hear Him and you follow Him and you end up wrong, that He will make it work out and you will always end up exactly where you're supposed to be. So, all that being said, going into the interview, I very much was in a good headspace as far as I'm okay if this doesn't work out, and I am definitely like stoked if it does. So that was a really good place to go into the interview from, because it gave me that confidence that I needed, that I can just truly be myself. I can speak what's on my heart. I can share my knowledge, my expertise as I see that it fits the position, and then whatever happens, happens. So my biggest challenge in this situation is I don't have the Master's in Library Science or Master's in Instructional Technology, which either of those would allow me to get my licensure in the area that I'd be working in. I can still be eligible for that, but I have to enroll in a program like early after receiving the job. So I'd pretty much need to start this fall. At first that was like, I can't do it, you know, because I've been in school for so long. But at the same time, I recognize that like this is an area that I'm passionate about, something I really love. I think I would really enjoy the classes and the work that's involved in learning these new skills. So I ultimately came to the decision that I'm okay with whatever happens. Also, it's going to involve me trying to finish my thesis at the same time as I am starting this program, which is a little bit tricky, but it's doable. I only have 4 semesters and I should be done. So that's including the summer semester. So basically we're looking at like, before Christmas of next year, not this Christmas that's coming, I should be done with that. So anyway, all of that considered, I feel like when I went into the interview, I was a little bit concerned because I didn't have that background and I was afraid, like, are they going to ask me something that I don't really know? Like, I wasn't sure if there was going to be any kind of performance task, which it turned out there wasn't. I guess in general, they have observed my work to know that what I'm capable of doing as far as performance goes and what I know about literacy and such. So, I was pleasantly surprised to realize that all of the questions were very much within my wheelhouse, being an ELA major. Like when I got my original certificate, I got it in K-8 with a concentration in English, which basically means that I minored in English. So I had so much English lit and so many like methodology courses in teaching ELA and also young adult literature classes. I had to take 2 of those, I think. So it was a full year of that. So I really feel like I was very well prepared for a lot of the library related tasks due to my major and my concentration that I selected. So that was really good. I didn't know, like, were they going to ask me to like share my favorite books or whatever. So I kind of prepped that. Being the planner that I am, I went into AI and prompted Gemini to give me some interview questions to kind of like look over and make sure there wasn't anything that I needed to prepare for. I kind of familiarized myself with the different platforms that library circulation is done on, and I looked up which one we're using so that I could confirm what I thought was true, that we use Follett Destiny. And so that is pretty user friendly, and so that made me feel better. And then I recognize that a lot of what the position will entail is working with teachers in their classrooms to help them bring tech into their classrooms and make their units sparkle. And it's right up my alley. Like, that is exactly what I would love to do. So I think that my previous experience as an instructional coach, even though not everything was ideal in that situation, I did pick up a lot of skills from it, and I learned a lot. Plus, I already know people that I would be working with, and I have gotten along very well with the staff here, and I would imagine that the same would be true at the middle school. So I don't have that same fear that my ability to make relationships with staff would be, limited. After coming out of that situation in my district where I was an instructional coach, initially that was something that, was kind of a confidence killer because I wasn't well received. But as time went on and I was able to kind of, do the work that I needed to do to process that situation through therapy and just reflection of my own, I recognized that it said more about the people than it did about who I was. And then I was able to let that go, and I was able to, realize that you are only one part of the equation in a relationship. And in order for there to be good relationships in a school building, that needs to be facilitated top down, and it also needs to be reciprocal amongst coworkers, where you are treated respectfully as well as you treating people respectfully. Having a mindset that people are, have your best interest at heart until they prove otherwise is helpful to developing that rapport. And I recognized that I wasn't 100% responsible for the way that I was being received. And any mistakes that I made, I owned them, and, you know, haven't had that issue in my jobs that I held after that. So I think that I am ready to look at that kind of instructional support role again, and that I could be very effective in this situation. So I went into it feeling like this is exactly what I love to do. This is what I want to do. Like I basically said, I want to operate in my area of strength and still be able to support the overall big vision of the district, which is something that I feel like right now I'm not able to operate in my area of strength very often. I think over time that could change. I think that the pendulum is always swinging in education, and if I stay in it long enough, it will swing back towards where I am. And I'm not like an extremist by any means, because I do believe in having good structure to lessons. But I also believe in providing time for building background, that maybe some people consider that to be something you do in 2 minutes at the beginning of a lesson. I consider it to be valuable to spend extended time in exploration, as long as you go in and explicitly teach the concepts that you want to make sure they get at some point within a week. And then give them reinforcement time, you know, to practice. So I think I believe in all the pieces of what we're doing. I just see that there are multiple like formats for making sure that all kids get what they need. So I think that in this role that I am trying for, that it just offers me a lot more opportunity for creativity and a lot of opportunity for me to function a greater percentage of the day in the things that I'm good at and the things that I've learned. And I think that can only be good for kids, because, you know, if we're operating in our personal strengths and talents, then, you know, we're always going to be our best for others. So I'm excited. I will find out probably in a week what's going on with that whole thing. A week to, I don't know, a little over a week, 10 days, I should know. And that's good, because it's time for classroom setup to happen very soon. So I'm going to be doing one thing, either setting up my classroom or setting up a media center. And either way, I'm really jazzed and excited to see where this takes me. And I think if nothing else, like being yourself allows you to see who your supporters are. Even if some people really don't like it when you stand up and say what you believe in, if it's, you know, not what they believe in, the people who really love you will still be there. And, you know, that allows you to see who you can rely on. And I think when you are yourself, you're always going to end up where you're supposed to be. So I feel like I did the right thing in standing my ground, because I do not complain about everything. In fact, I have had my bosses back on many occasions over the last year, and just gone along with a lot of things. And I think the temptation is, when you have somebody that's speaking up and speaking their mind, to tell that person to just like take a step back, be quiet, just go with the flow. You'll see in the end, da 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 da. But there are a lot of things that I don't complain about. I don't agree with necessarily, but I just do it. But I have my like non-negotiable things that I know, like, this is a make it or break it thing for me. being able to be myself during the day, during my work day, it's a make or break item for me on my list. And I just won't settle. I can't settle in that area. I can settle for a training that I don't necessarily feel like going to, you know, and even have a good attitude and participate appropriately. I can settle for a new lunch schedule or a new like daily schedule. I can flex for these kinds of things. I can flex for, you know, all of my team wanting to do colored cards for where the students are at with their behavior during the day, even though it's not my favorite way of tracking discipline, because it's something that we're doing as a team and we're using it for our PBIS awards, our PBIS rewards. I can, you know, do that and just go along with the flow, because none of those things are really asking me to settle when it comes to who I am as an individual, as an educator, and the creativity piece of it and the autonomy to be able to differentiate in a way that I think will meet my students where they're at. That is a make it or break it for me. So I did the right thing, and we'll just see what happens. If I have to do this job the next year as is, then I will probably just resort to going silent about everything when it comes to what I believe in. And that's a shame. That's a loss for my district. It's a loss for my school building. It's a loss for students, but it will be what I will have to do to survive in that situation. If that happens, then I'll be okay. It just means that my job will not be the focus of my life. I will probably just show up, do the work, and leave, and make my creator life a bigger priority. I may start taking some brand deals. I may start doing more like outside things after school hours, things that will allow me to get that creative energy out and explore other directions for my life, apply for things that would give me the experience that I do need to move towards being a professor, that kind of thing. That's kind of where I will probably fall is, you know, I've promised to do a job. I'm going to go in and I'm going to follow my contract, and I will probably be a leave at 3:30 person, which is not me. But that's what I will need to do, because I'm not a person who wants to do creative things. I am a creative. So I have high hopes. My biggest challenge in getting the job is if someone else shows up that is already licensed. So we'll see what happens. It's not going to take long to find out, so I don't have a long time to wait. Next week is going to be super busy because it is the week that we test students for this program. I'm very excited because one of my students that I had this year passed the Read to Achieve today. She had to take her test early because she is not going to be here a couple of days next week. So I'm very excited that she passed. I hope to see like multiple kids like that pass this next week when we do our testing. So I'm going to be very focused on that, very busy, and it will be easy for me to get through the next week, not really like stressing or thinking too much about this before I get a call to let me know, you know, one way or the other what's happening. So the next time I talk to you, I will know more. So that's it for right now. I'm going to relax tonight and read my book and enjoy this beautiful summer evening. So this is not the update that I expected to be giving you. You're never gonna believe what happened to me today. Why am I surprised by this? So, okay. I just have had the greatest day. I spent the entire day with my daughter and her family. She lives about an hour and 20 minutes from us. We drove out there today to the beach and hung out with her. I spent time with my little granddaughter. She is 2.5, and we did crafts together. We read books. We played a game that I brought. I got to talk and catch up with my daughter, and it was just really nice because she's a photographer. She does wedding photography and family portrait photography on the beach, which in the summertime is slammed in the Outer Banks. So it's the time that we get to spend together is few and far between in the summer, and it goes by so fast before it's time to go back to work again, and I'm busy. So I really had a great day today, and I was not in the least bit concerned about what's going on with my interview process right now. Like I said, I just feel really at peace about it, and I just it didn't even really cross my mind today. I'm not whatever happens, right? I figure, it'll be another week before I hear anything. And lo and behold, I looked at my phone and I saw 2 missed calls, and I was like, what is this number? And I was like, it's Elizabeth City. And then I started thinking about it. So I looked the number up, and no one has left a voicemail. So I was like, this is the STEM school that I toured, that I told you had fallen through. So they contacted me, and I figured, well, I don't know if my voicemail is full or what's happened, but I cleared my voicemail out just to be sure. And I sent a message to a friend of mine that I know there and said, hey, I think someone tried to call me from the school. Could you please let me know if they're trying to get a hold of me for an interview? I'm still, interested. And they messaged me, they emailed me and said that they wanted to interview me on Monday, the 28th, which is the day of the board meeting. So now here I go. I will probably know, I would imagine they're going to tell me by the 28th whether or not I got the job, because they usually tell you hey, we're going to present your name to the board. Are you still interested? And then they, just say, don't say anything until it's final. And then, a couple days go by and they present your name. So I'm imagining I will know by then, unless they're going to hold off and tell me after the board says yes. So I guess I'm going to interview on the 28th. I'm having to think, okay, what do I really want the most? Do I really want the most to be in a position where I am teaching in a place that has the same setup with their teaching, and then move into an administrator role when time goes by and I've proven myself and, something comes open? Or would I rather be in more of an administrative role now, working for my same district, doing professional development for teachers, designing a brand new library, media center, makerspace, all of that. And I really, have kind of thought it over, and I think probably my preference is to stay in my current district if I'm able to get this job. But the nice thing is that now I feel like I have options. So if it doesn't work out with the library media coordinator, that means that I have the option to teach in my area of strength by moving into this new opportunity. So I feel pretty confident that I can get a job at the STEM school. I feel like my background is well suited to the opening, and my philosophy of education is very much in alignment with theirs. So I don't think I'm going to have a problem getting offered the position there. So the thing will just be like, you know, what happens with the library position. And I guess if I don't get it, then I just move forward with that. But it's just so funny because it's like I had just given up on that, and I did not expect them to call me at this point. I figured they would call me, you know, maybe like around by the 9th or the 10th of July at the latest. And here we are. It's, you know, the 18th. So it's like more than a week later than I expected if I was going to have a chance this year at it. So yeah, things are getting very interesting, and you are not going to want to miss the next video, the next couple of videos, because I am going to reveal to you what actually ends up happening with me this year, and whether I'm setting up a STEM classroom or whether I am setting up a media center. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm signing off. I have no other information for you for another week or so. All right. Have a great night.